You are listening to Prepper Talk Radio here on K-Talk, AM 1640. We are radio for the ready-minded, and it is Friday afternoon. Hopefully you're ready for the weekend, ready to do something for you.
Something preppery.
Yes, that's why I said something for you. Because if it's not prepared or preparedness-related, it's not worth doing.
That's my opinion.
Right?
Absolutely.
Forget going to the movies. Actually, no, it's fun. You have to entertain. That's part of the psychological and mental preparedness and health issue that needs to be addressed all the time. So entertainment's a good part of that. Today we've got a fun show for our...
Yeah, we don't usually have fun shows.
We always have a fun show. We have a fun show every
Just
week.
a fun show today.
Okay. Just this week this week only, it's a fun show.
That's right.
So I'm pretty stoked about it because it's prepper tips. But before we get into that, I want to shout out to this show's sort of sponsor for today.
Yep.
511 Tactical here in Salt Lake City. We are calling them our sponsor today because they just invited us to be part of their Always Be Ready program. Shane and I will be teaching there 3 times in the next year. They typically do classes on Tuesday nights. We'll let you know when the schedule gets posted when we'll be teaching. We'll also be doing our book launch with 511. So go check them out. They're having a phenomenal sale right now. And I just picked up another pair of pants.
I'm wearing 511s as we speak.
I also am wearing 511s. You're also wearing a 511 hat.
Yes, that's true.
We're kind of...
that's true.
As gear hounds, we flock to the things that work best. And I guess you could say that's one of our prepper tips is find clothing, gear that lasts a long time.
Clothing is a hot spot for me, definitely. And I've been very picky about what I wear, not because I'm a brand name kind of guy, but there are particular brand names that I do like. I do like the North Face. I've worn that since I was a teenager, so I'm kind of stuck on North Face.
Well, and it's the same stuff.
And they look good on me.
It lasts a long time.
Exactly. It lasts a long time, and it looks good on me. I like the style. I do not like that it's become trendy. That is my only thing that I don't like about North Face. It has really become trendy, so I do my best not to purchase the trendy items, the ones that function and fit. And that I like.
See, I've got a lot of good, like Carhartt is a good brand, really heavy duty, especially their winter gear.
Yeah, for working on the ranch.
Duluth.
Good work gear. I do like the Duluth
They've
stuff
got some cool stuff. I got to try their fire hose pants.
Oh, have you?
I haven't gotten any yet, but I've got to try those.
Yeah, I know. I want to try those.
It's on my list.
Yeah. And then the 511, I found those, I guess, a couple years ago when Prepper came to PrepperCon, right?
Yep.
And they become one of my favorite brands to wear.
So for those who know me, you know that I hate, like, I rip through pants. Like, a pair of jeans lasts me maybe a year.
Yeah, same here.
Maybe a year. I'll rip them. I'm always doing stuff. I'm always on the move. I'm working on stuff. I'm not like, I don't wear pants for nice occasions. I'll wear slacks and stuff like that. But
I'm constantly...
I shouldn't say I don't wear pants. I don't wear jeans for nice occasions. But I got into their 511 tactical pant, which is more of a security or
a tactical appearance
mountain wilderness adventure type pant. And that's what
outdoor pant.
Crossover. But they're flexible. They don't rip. I mean, they last forever.
Super functional, and they don't look like typical cargo pants. Is what I like. I don't like the typical cargo pants because they got the pockets sewn on the outside, big baggy pockets. They look all sloppy.
When you run, they start flapping.
Yeah,
and
exactly. I do not like that, but I really like their tactical pants because they are kind of a cargo pant. They have the lots of pockets, lots of place to put things.
It's a slimline cargo, so everything's hidden inside the pant.
Exactly.
Right?
It's within the pant, exactly.
It's concealed cargo.
And now I'm wearing, and I think you were as well, their new jean, their new...
7 pockets, very comfortable, very flexible.
Very flexible.
Had to buy another pair for my conference that I'm going to next week. So I stopped by the store today, found out they're having a huge sale. So get on down there, bought a sticker and a T-shirt.
I think I'll...
Hopefully my wife's
give me
not
another
listening.
pair as well.
I'll be in trouble spending money.
Hey, it's for work, right? Work expense.
Work.
You can
T-shirt's
write
not
it
really
off.
work expense. But
Hey, but you know what? We're celebrities, right? So we can expense everything. We can expense everything.
There we go.
From clothes to ammo, everything we're in between.
Well, that's our current event. So stay tuned. We're going to tell you when the classes are. We'll post them up on our website. Check us out if you want to catch our podcasts ever. Go to our website. It links right to Spreaker. You can listen right there. You can also find us on iTunes and iHeart.
Yes.
And we're growing very fast. It's we're new to the podcast side of things. We've been doing radio for almost 3 years, and the podcast
about
is
6
months. And we've
We
got
should
over
have done this a long time ago.
27,000 listens.
Yeah.
So it's
Downloads and stuff.
really fast growing. So check it out. write a review. Let us know.
Yeah, we would
you
love
think.
absolutely.
Give us your feedback. So today we're breaking down the topic into 3 parts. It's prepper tips. We want to start basic in the first segment, get a little deeper in the second segment, and kind of finish off with advanced towards the very end of the hour.
Yeah, and I think that's true. Most of the time we tend to go advanced, right? Kind of off the bat, because that's where we are right now. But we want to make sure to customize our message for those of you who maybe aren't preppers at all and haven't even started prepping. Those of you who are in between, the intermediate, and then those of you who want some advanced tips.
Yeah,
To be in some intense and
we're all audience friendly today.
to be completely honest with you, right now I think you all need to be. This is my advice to you. You all need to be intense with your preparation right now, and not to get into other current events, but there's a lot going on. I'll stop there. You need to be very intense and on getting prepared, even with at
That's
least
an
the
interesting
basics.
choice of word. I would say intense is, to me, it gives kind of a feeling of anxiety,
Okay.
a feeling of angst. I would say intentional
Okay,
with your preparedness. For me,
that's not enough for me. That's not
because
that's
intentional
not,
means everything that I'm doing has an intention behind
Well,
it. There's a purpose. It's a grander purpose.
I
So
really
purposeful.
like that. I think that's great.
But
However,
definitely, you need to expedite what you're doing.
expedite, and I still I'm going to use the word intense. You should be intense. You should feel a little bit of anxiety. If you don't already feel anxiety about not being prepared, you should feel some anxiety right now. If you ask me, that's my opinion. You need to be
I'm pretty
prepared.
at peace,
I am too.
even though
because,
I'm watching things crumble all around.
Yep.
I've got plans, and
Well,
I've got plans for plans, and
Yep.
I'm using some of those
exactly,
now.
and that's one of our tips is planning. But
Let's start off with simple.
okay, go for it. Yes,
Simple.
So yeah, my first bit of advice, my first tip is keep it simple. Whether you're a basic, or you're a beginner, an intermediate, or advanced prepper, or anywhere in between, or if you're on the conspiracy side, keep it simple. And
What do you mean by that, though?
well, I think as we had Tim Ralston on a couple weeks ago. He wrote the book called Minimalist Prepper.
Okay.
And Tim's been doing this for 30 plus years, right? For a long time.
Yep.
And I think as we all tend to evolve toward, we start out and we try and learn everything. I'm talking about myself, right? Try and learn everything, and it gets incredibly complicated and confused. And okay, what am I going to do next? What's my next purchase? And it can be very confusing. It has been for me. What should I do next? What's my next step? But keep it simple all the way through the process. That is really the key. Prepping is not meant to complicate your life. It is meant to actually simplify your life. So if you're complicating your life, you're doing it wrong. And that really comes down to your own personal experience.
I think it also
It's
comes
very
down
personal.
to strategy, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
baby steps in preparedness is probably, I would say, the right way to go to help identify what simple means is to take it in bite-sized chunks. Don't overdo each step. Don't see, okay, here's the plan, and then see somebody else's plan and say, oh, I need to add that to it. And don't overload with a lot of different things. Start simply, keep it simply, get something done, execute on the next step.
And I think what also comes into it is gear. Gear obviously always comes into this.
I don't need a 142 tool survival knife.
Exactly. You don't need a dozen different rifles. You don't need a dozen different knives. You need one gun. You need one knife. You need one of each tool. We'll say that to get started,
and then find out what you might need to back
exactly.
up.
Once you begin to learn to become more intermediate, advanced at preparedness, because prepping is life. If you ask me, prepping is life.
Well, yeah.
So once you get into it, you realize, okay, this isn't working for me, and then you can begin to make more advanced or wiser decisions on your gear, on your plans. Plans in particular. My plans are constantly changing.
Well, and they should be. They should be evolving based on your situation, based on how your family grows and changes. And
Yeah, evolving is a better word than just changing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the next thing on the basic list for me is to start living below your means right now. Right? If you just watch the economy, that could send you into a panic mode. Shane and I have conversations about this throughout the week, and he's like, "Oh, did you see the market today? Oh," and I'm like, "Oh crap, what's going on?" Because I don't watch it every day like you do, it's not as a high priority for me because they don't have much
I'm
invested
just
in that
fascinated
market.
With it. I'm fascinated with it.
But that's one of your areas of passion. And so I'm like, oh, I need to check out what's going on. Let me call Shane.
But let's clarify.
When it comes to living below your means, it's like not getting into additional debt. Not I don't need the nicest, newest car. If I can learn how to maintain certain things myself, like my house, like my car. I mean, and we'll get into tools and trades and stuff like that later. But understanding that I don't need the latest and greatest, I don't need all of this other stuff. Go simple. Go back to that one, right? But live below your means. Instead of going out and buying a year's supply of food on your credit card, look for other ways to lower your bills and then use that leftover money for preps.
Absolutely. And not only live below your means, live well below your means. And that's one thing that we have, at least I have been in the trap for many years, is, okay, I can afford this because I have extra money in my bank account. No, that's not what that means at all.
So, and I do that on certain things, right? I budget for it. So I can't remember. I saw this movie. It's like you set a budget so that you don't budge, right?
Yeah. Okay.
You don't budge.
Yeah, I like that.
And I think, wow, that's a really good philosophy, because if we do set that budget and we treat it like an accountant does or a business financial analyst would, we utilize that money smarter. If you find that you've got payments that are going on for things that you're not really using, get rid of those, right? If you find that you're paying more than you need to for your cell service, maybe you're only using 8 gigs and you've got an unlimited plan. Why have the unlimited plan drop down? We just switched our phone plan and saved $75.
Yeah, and some people might say $75 is a big deal. No, that's $75 is a lot of food storage every month. That's a good amount of food storage.
Oh yeah, or a good amount of paying off debt.
Oh yeah,
or
absolutely.
Put it away towards something that you may need or
just
want
to save it,
right? And so there's so many different things you can do with that. I mean, we went from living off of needing at least $6,000 or $7,000 a month, dropping that down to around just under $4,000. And that's including student loans I'm still paying for. I know. I went to college, and I thought that was smart. But I've learned since trades are more valuable educationally than most college degrees. And this could become a whole conversation topic, but we're not going to go there. But the point is to come back down and live below your means. Whatever you're making, you don't have to go out and make more unless you want to. But learn to live off of less. Because then that gives you the opportunity to save and invest for your future, gives you the opportunity to get the things that you need as a preparedness person and help other people out as a preparedness person. Some of you are parents and grandparents and you worry about your kids. Well, if you're living below your means, you've got stuff that you can help them get prepared when they're going through crunch time.
And that's an absolute truth you said right there, is that we are going to have to prepare for other people. I mean, that's the truth, and that's something I've realized here in just the past, month or two, is, I've been concerned about myself. I've gotten to the point where I'm comfortable, and now I need to start preparing for others. There's lots of different strategies we could talk about. We won't, because we're running out of time here. But and we've got a caller. Maybe we could ask you to hang on till the next.
Yeah, hang on. We're about to hit our commercial break, caller, but we'll answer during the break and keep you on hold.
Yeah, and then I think one thing I wanted to get in before we go to break, in the basic category of prepping tips, is start with water. Start with water. You probably already have a roof over your head. Shelter is number one, right? Whether it's an apartment or a home. The next step should be to save and store up as much water as you can.
Absolutely. That's actually the next thing on my list. Store plenty of water. Collect your own water for your backyard, for gardening and things like that. But store water, drinking potable water in your house and around your house. Barrels, whatever you can get that will store well, get those and start storing that now. And that's one of the simplest things. $75, I could get 2 big 55-gallon containers.
Start 2-liter bottles.
Fill them with water and be done. But that savings is now being used.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, you're listening to Prepper Talk Radio. We're hitting our break. Listen to the sponsors. Support our sponsors because they support our show. We are back with Prepper Talk Radio, radio for the ready-minded, and today's tip.
Today's tip. We'd like to do a gear or a skill tip in our second segment. And one thing an item of gear that I had neglected for many years, that I am sad that I did, is called a shemagh.
Yes.
Do you know what a shemagh is? I know you know what a shemagh is, but listener, do you know what a shemagh is? Essentially, picture a bandana that is
very large,
3 to 4 times, so about 40 inches, 42 inches square, and it is used as a headdress, as a scarf, as so many different things, as well as it's cotton, so it can be used for wound care, for slings, for so many different things you can use a shemagh for. Now, it really, of course, this originated in the Middle East, right? And the military
adapted
it
quickly.
exactly. They said, "Well, hey, this is what the natives use," and so they saw the benefit of using it in an arid climate. Which you would think, okay, why are you going to wrap something around yourself when it's so hot outside? But obviously, we won't get into that. But it has a lot of benefits in the heat and in the cold, and multiple uses. And I think that's one thing I really try and keep in my bags is something that has the things that have multiple uses, not just single use.
Right.
And a shemagh, you can use it as, you can wrap it around yourself for shelter. You can use it to all kinds of stuff. For washing dishes, you could use it as a towel for drying dishes.
It's just so many little simple uses.
Yeah, and it's very inexpensive, $10, $12.
Yep.
Get a couple of them, put them in different bags. And
come in a lot of different colors,
Yep.
sizes, shapes. The smallest one I've seen is about 1 meter by meter. And then they go up to, I think, 48 inches by 48.
There's some larger ones.
Those are some of the larger ones. So find what works for you. Test them out. Use them when you go camping. Use them, keep one in your car. Because you can use it as a makeshift filter, for your
all
face.
Kinds of stuff. You can use it to filter water through to
Absolutely.
get some of the debris out and then run it through your water filter. And that's my phone. Let me silence that.
So with that,
There's my tip.
Back to, thank you, Shane, for your tip of the day. We're back to prepper tips. So the next one on my list is there's two of them I'm kind of merging into one.
Are we going toward intermediate now, or are we still got a few basics?
Let's hit a few more basics, then go to intermediate. But food storage. Don't buy food for your family if it's not food that they're currently eating. Don't just go out and buy a year's supply of food and think, hey, we're good. It's got a 25-year shelf life. We're not going to touch it. Well, guess what? When you do touch it, you're going to have a lot of digestive issues if it's not something you eat all the time.
As you experienced a little bit this week there, Scott, or no?
Well, no. I had a cold that caused some irritability, but I've been eating food storage for a week and a half, just testing out my shelf life stuff. But I go through a bucket. Every 3 months, I'll use one of my large buckets and just start pulling stuff out and using it. I got to tell you, I love the potato soups. They're amazing. I'm a big potato soup fan anyways. But the other part is don't just store like freeze-dried or don't just store canned foods. Get a grouping and make sure you've got seeds, which will go into the intermediate area as well. But look at multiple and different types of food sources and adapt what you're eating now to what you'll always be eating.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's always available.
And as we said many times on the show, I like to start with filling my cupboards first with the things that we eat, and then I like to. My plan is we have been moving on to basics.
Absolutely.
Again, more basic. So rice, beans, potatoes, honey, sugar, flour, those kinds of things which are fairly inexpensive. You want to take a call here?
Yeah. Thank you, caller, for calling in. You're on the line with Prepper Talk Radio. Do you have a comment on our prepper tips for the day?
Yeah, I got a comment. Just a little bit of as far as food storage and savings.
Yeah.
I'm actually part of a co-op.
Brilliant.
Out here in Atlanta. And we pay roughly, a group of us will go together, but for instance, we pay $150 a month, and every week the back of my truck is full. Over the top, full of food, bottled water, and a lot of it is stuff that's, you got your expiration dates and you got best sold by dates. It'll go beyond those best sold by dates.
Absolutely.
But they're still good. You get for the price that we pay, we get a lot. We get a good value. And a lot of it is dried rice, dried beans, like I said, bottled water. We're here lately, we've been getting a lot of these FEMA meal packs, which comes with either a can of chili with a pack of Pop-Tarts, a granola bar, and some form of I think Hershey's has got a milk that doesn't have to be refrigerated.
So is that like a surplus or an expired meal to get them from FEMA?
It's probably surplus.
Okay.
I don't think they could get rid of any expired. Yeah, they can't be expired. The FDA would kill them, would crush them. Yeah, but surplus, definitely. That's awesome. So you found a co-op there locally.
Yes.
That's a fantastic resource. How did you find that for our listeners?
Basically, one website that I went to is United Food Force, if that's okay to get the name.
Absolutely.
Hey, we're a resource.
Okay, United Food Force. they now I'm in Atlanta, and this is probably about the fourth time I've called in. So
Awesome. We appreciate it.
So, but I don't know if they cover all out there in that area. We do get produce from time to time, and like for instance, this last delivery that we went and picked up, we got like 8 of these crates of strawberries. Yeah, and some of them are really good.
So I guess you'll just kind of divide those up, whoever needs what at the time, or how does that work for you?
Through the group, like in my group, there's like five families. We'll divide everything up by 5, and if there's anything left over, we'll put it in a pile, and then everybody gets to pick out what they want. So, like for instance, I don't like anything that comes in sugar-free, so we get sugar-free Gatorade, sugar-free Powerade.
Yeah.
Y'all keep that. I'll deal with what I got, and then I might get a little extra of something else.
So you have to have kind of a good relationship with these other families, it sounds like.
Well, we're friends, you know.
Okay.
We've got there's like 3 of us that have actually go to church together. A 4th is a neighbor, and then a 5th is one of my friends is a babysitter, and one of their family is in. So one of the kids that she babysits, her, that child's parent is involved.
Wow.
So yeah, and I've been in it going on for over a year now, and I mean we get a lot of stuff, and it gets to the point now that whatever I bring home, we actually disperse, and I give to like a few other families.
Oh, that's smart.
So,
well, and then if there is an overage of something you really like, you just can it or freeze dry it, or if you find another way to store it. I mean,
right?
You can freeze a ton of stuff as long as you've got backup power for when the crap happens. But
right,
this is amazing. I mean, you said you're paying about $150 a month for a truckload worth of food.
Well, it's a pickup truck. I'll go to the facility where it's all stored, and they will open up my doors, drop my tailgate, fill it in by cases, and we're talking about like Lay's potato chips, the big bags. Two cases of those a week.
So not just food storage, but stuff you eat every day.
And a lot of it is.
Yeah.
Now you can only eat so much barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
But there's a certain brand that donates their stuff to the food force, and so we get gallon jugs of this barbecue sauce. Well, I mean we're in the South. Yes, we eat a lot of barbecue, but we don't eat that much barbecue.
Yeah.
Time to have a neighborhood barbecue and talk preparedness and how to work together.
Yeah, listen up, all you Utahns. You need to take lessons from these Southern preppers because they know how to do it. I tell you,
every prepper I've met from the South has way better food storage than anyone I've met here in Utah, because you guys understand how important flavor is. And you have a wider palate.
Yeah, but we're also more rural. Everybody out here loves hunting. Now, everybody, there's a lot of people who goes hunting, yes. But like you were saying before, there's only so much you can actually hunt before you hunt somebody else's food.
Yep.
But we're willing to go out, and you got to meet the max, meet the limit, and find a way to preserve it. Some of it's jerky, some of it's freeze-dried, some of it's processed and frozen, and, hopefully
would you call yourself?
Power holds on.
Would you call yourself intense at this point in prepping? Are you intense?
Actually, I'm late in starting, so it's kind of having to rearrange everything with the intent to prep. And a lot of it, my wife started it by doing the extreme couponing back when that hit.
Oh, good for her. Yeah.
And so she still does the couponing, even though there's limitations. I do a lot of scrap metal, so things that I can reuse as something else. Then God bless rednecks.
Absolutely. Well, hey, thank you.
Sound pretty intense to me.
Thank you so much for your call. We appreciate you. Stay tuned. I'm sure we'll hear from you a lot more in the future because you've already called 4 times. So thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
It's fun having the show because we get to talk to people from all over the world that have different strategies. And, scrap metal, that's huge.
Oh, yeah.
That could be one of our intermediate is grab the things that you're used to working with so you can continue to work with those and use those as barter and trade items, right?
And even right now, I still think everybody who is serious needs to be intense. So to make that happen, you've got to get creative.
Yep.
So, if you find a source, you got some scrap metal, pick it up, take it down, go get a few extra bucks so you can buy some more preps.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's so many different things you could think of to get a little extra money to increase your food storage or whatever you need.
Let's try to get let's get one more of the beginner.
Oh, one more of the basics?
Let's do one more basic, and then let's jump into intermediate.
Okay. What do you got? Where's my turn?
I'll let you pick this one.
Skills. I think I tend to focus, and then we talked about this before, Scott and I are both gearheads.
Mm-hmm.
And it is time, and it's past time, and I have been focusing more on skills. And so I want to put that in the basic category to focus on skills rather than just on stuff.
See, I to go with that, I put learning how to use hand tools.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
Learning how to use things that don't require additional power. And that's part of skills.
Learning
right?
a trade.
Developing a trade.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are things that you can always use no matter what happens, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can always find a way to make money or
money on the
find
side
trade value, by utilizing these types of things. And it can be a fun hobby, right? But it helps process, stress in life to have a hobby. It also is great because then that hobby can be done to create something that you can either sell or you can stockpile or you can donate or you can teach someone else once you become proficient at it.
And it takes time to become proficient, so start now.
And so that's one of those things that learning starts in the beginning stages, basic stages, and it goes intermediate and advanced the more you put your time into it.
And it's just like a child, right? When they first are going to school, they don't know what they want to become or do for full-time work, right? And it's kind of the same thing being a prepper. When you first get started, you say, hey, this looks fun. No, I don't want to do that. That doesn't, I want to learn this trade. No, that doesn't, I don't enjoy that. And it takes time to figure out what you're good at and what you can do to potentially earn income and live off the grid and earn some income.
I've been prepping most of my life. I didn't know I was a prepper until about 8-9 years ago, a decade ago. I didn't realize.
Until they put a kind of
I was
label
like,
on it.
oh yeah, that's me. Actually, no, it's been 12 years that I realized I was a prepper. But I didn't tell anybody about it. I'm like, oh, so we're not supposed to tell anybody about it. Good call. Keep it secret, right? Never in my wildest dreams back then would have I ever thought that I was going to do a radio show and I was going to teach other people how to prepare. But it just so happens that fast forward 12, 13 years, and here I am doing that very thing. And we're about to launch our book. We've done PrepperCon and helped over 36,000 people get better prepared. I mean, we're trying to help. We're trying to do something good with what we've learned. And you'll find the same thing as you start learning more. You're going to start sharing more.
You have the passion to tell people about it. Absolutely.
So,
all right, intermediate.
Keep that in mind as you get going because it'll happen. And one of those things is growing a garden. That's I think in an intermediate,
okay,
right?
Yeah.
Because you need a little more skill, and you need to have the space. You need to have the dedication for it. And so, it sounds easy, but it's not. It can be sort of easy. But there's always things that you need to tend to with a garden. It's something you have to be vigilant about. So I put it in the intermediate category, but it's a great way, start by learning about the dirt, learn about the area that you have, work it, play with it, bring in other things that work better with it. Find out what grows in your climate and your temperate zone, because if resources go limited, that's going to affect your garden. So start doing that now to better prepare yourself. And that's why we have people on like Buna Tomalina a few weeks ago with Garden Inspire. And she's going to be doing some nature walks soon and some, square box gardening, square foot gardening soon. Yeah. Check out her resources.
Yeah, and just like anything else, it takes time. So every year I try and do something a little different. Try and figure out, okay, what's working with my soil, like you say, or what are we eating or what are we not eating? What's going to waste? So this year I think I'm going to try some peanuts. I don't think I'm going to be very successful at it, but I want to give it a try.
I've actually started adding more Cajun spices to my food storage. I should probably
Can't go wrong with Cajun.
There's actually restaurant supplier companies you can get dried spices from. You can actually get barbecue sauce, freeze-dried powder.
Like 25-pound bags.
In bags, and you just hydrate it. And it's true barbecue sauce at that point. So that's on my list because my wife is a barbecue sauce fanatic. I am not. I eat it sparingly. I I like dry rubs on my meats, and I like
Going to Buffalo Wild Wings for dinner tonight.
Are you?
Yep.
Have fun with that. I hate that place.
You don't like it?
It's crazy.
Oh, I love it.
It's insanity. It's so loud.
It is. No, it is
it's
loud.
obnoxious.
I just like the food. I love
Food's
the food.
good.
All right,
it's
getting off track.
obnoxious.
Okay. So my next tip for, I guess, the intermediate is more of a gear tip. Find and buy a good hat.
Yeah.
A good hat. And what I'm talking about, a good hat, is not just a beanie, not a ball cap, right? Ball cap doesn't protect you much. Yeah, it keeps the sun out of your eyes, keeps the sun off your head. But I'm talking about a good, a fleece hat, or an oiled leather hat, or a cowboy hat. I mean,
A nice Stetson.
A nice Stetson, yeah, a nice hard-rimmed, that's the word, a cowboy hat. And the reason I say that is because you need more protection from the sun, from the elements, than just a ball cap will give you.
Yeah, keep the sun off your neck and your ears big time.
Keep the sun off, keep the rain off, and keep the heat in the winter, and keep the heat out in the summer.
Well, and you can always layer up on top of or underneath the hat depending on the fit of the hat, right?
Yeah, so I got myself a nice oiled leather Australian Outback hat.
An Aussie hat.
I'm very happy with so far, so I'll be using that more this summer.
So you're ready to go gator hunting?
I'm ready to just be out in the mountains, and just get me out there.
Me too. So I put next on mine. It kind of goes back to the financial, living below your means, but it's reducing or eliminating debt, right? Debt is a mind killer.
Yep,
we're in our break. Dad,
yep.
Gummit. We're going to come back to this when we get back.
Cool.
You're listening to Prepper Talk Radio on K-Talk, AM 1640, radio for the ready-minded. You are listening to Prepper Talk Radio here at K-Talk AM 1640. You can stream us on iHeart, on iTunes, and Spreaker. Go to preppertalkradio.com to see more information. Learn about us, our crazy, wacky selves.
Our weirdo mindset of being preppers. I mean, what's all that about?
I know, right? And we've got some tips and tricks and tools and videos and links. And if you really want to go crazy, you can get one of the patches off our website. We've got those up there.
That's true. We still have the patches on there.
For the third segment, we want to start off with our financial minute.
Yeah,
take it away, Shane.
Yeah, just wanted to. I'd like to do a little. I guess you can call it a financial update. It's the kind of financial condition update of the markets and such, which I keep a pretty close eye on. Not that I completely understand them. I still struggle every day of the week trying to understand the markets and understand what's behind them. Mm-hmm. I do spend probably most of my time trying to understand and listening to other commentators and bloggers on this realm. One thing I wanted to point to your attention this morning or this afternoon is the bond market. Do you know what the bond market is? The bond market is where essentially the government goes to raise money. They sell bonds to countries, individuals, and that's how money. One of the ways how money is created. So what's happening in the bond market right now is pretty different and strange. We have been hearing from a number of individuals, including Alan Greenspan, Bill Gross, Warren Buffett. They're all saying this one thing, that we are in a bond bubble. That they're all admitting right now that we're in a bond bubble.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah, and for them to all begin to say that at this point, I mean, we've been in a bond bubble. Those of us who are watching have known we've been in a bond bubble for many years. It's been a bull market in bonds for over 30-something years.
Wow.
Which is craziness. But now they're finally saying, "Oh, we're in a bubble." So that's a pretty big sign. Someone may be calling in about coming on the bubble here.
Yeah. Thanks for calling Prepper Talk Radio. You're online.
Hey, yeah, hi. Okay, so sorry to change the subject a little bit there.
Hey, Jason.
Hey.
I recognize your voice.
Oh, excellent. So earlier you were talking about simple prepper stuff, very simple things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. One of the most simple and basic and most beautiful aspect is get to know your neighbors.
Great point.
That's actually one of the discussion points we're going to be bringing up. So I'm glad you brought it up now.
We can move away from the bond market update.
Yeah, I think our financial update's good.
Check out the bond market. Just watch it, see what's doing. Interest rates are going up. It's driving up the interest rates for real estate. It's driving up interest rates for everything, which is going to eventually crash the system. And even these people like Warren Buffett, who's the man in stocks in the industry, they're all saying that this is the critical issue that will eventually cause everything to collapse. Is the bond market bubble. So
So
do
while
some more
that-
research, learn more about that.
When you're done searching that, go talk to your neighbors. Jason.
And talk to your neighbors about the bond bubble because they probably
I
have
think
no idea what
it
you're
will.
talking about.
Well, since you're my neighbor, we're talking about it
neighbor.
now, so we're golden.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Well, I think it's a point that a lot of people forget about is they think, okay, I'm going to prepare alone. I got to get myself ready. I got to focus on my family, and it kind of starts out that way in the beginning. But then as soon as you start to know a little bit more, it behooves you to help your neighbors. And so to do that, you can't help anyone that doesn't trust you.
and that's why we're here
So
on the radio.
You've got to be working with your neighbors to create positive relationships. I mean, my street, I've got guys that are always watching out for me, and I'm always watching out for them where I live, and so we've kind of got this really cool network going.
Jason?
And that's the thing. You know, yeah, you can be a lone wolf. Yes, that is possible. But if you stop and think about it, it is so incredibly difficult to do that. And if you're in the woods by yourself, yeah, you have to depend on yourself. You have to have those skills. If you are in anywhere within 20 miles of other people, at that point, the reason why we are successful as a species is not because of survival of the fittest. It's because of survival of cooperation and co-opting with one another. And that is probably the most critical thing, because you can have all of the stuff. You can have all of everything. And it won't matter if you don't have other people to actually collectively create and build upon what each other are doing.
But also, what a miserable existence that would be as well.
Oh, yeah.
To be completely
Well, I
wrong.
don't know.
Oof.
I don't know. Wait. No,
You have an argument against that, Jason?
Yes. If all that is left is politicians, and I'd rather be alone.
I knew you were going that way.
It's a good thing we're not a political show.
Yes.
I know, right? I'm sorry.
You get to talk about that plenty in the morning there, Jason. So
All right, fine.
Hey, thank
fine,
you so
thanks
much
for
for
the call.
calling in.
Appreciate
Bye.
it. Just
You
good to talk
guys.
to you, man.
Bye. You know, it's funny because community is a huge part of it. You know, and it starts with your family, and then it works its way out. You know, it goes back to the adage from the Bible: once you've been warned, it's your duty and obligation to warn the neighbor.
But you also think back to, again, you know, in my advanced category, I also put my saying that I like to say a lot is, to prepare for the future, you have to look to the past. You should look to the past. And that includes exactly what Jason mentioned there is bringing in our family, bringing in our tribe, becoming a tribal unit again, and watching over and taking care of each other through that tribal unit, through the family unit.
To rebuild society after any kind of collapse, or you have to be able to become tribal. You have to be able to become co-opt, right? To work together, and together you can actually make solutions happen.
There
Alone,
has to be
you
some
can't,
kind of structure.
right? Yeah, and that's fine. We rebuild the entire structure of our society and a new government.
Starting
whatever we
with
need to do.
families, what better way is there?
But yeah, come together and work together. And I think that's to me that's kind of half intermediate, half advanced, because there's a starting point. But then in the advanced side of it is getting everybody on the same page when it comes to preparedness.
Extremely
And
advanced.
It's very advanced, and it's hard.
That's above advanced level.
And
Absolutely.
that's why a lot of families, it stays inside that small family unit, and then goes to the mother and father, to the brothers, to the uncles and aunts, and it kind of starts to grow out that way. But that's where it starts. The next thing I would say, since we're kind of jumped into advanced, we touched on sanitation, but there's beginning level sanitation, like, hey, I gotta make a latrine for the weekend, or the week while the power's out and sewage is out, or long-term solutions, right?
Which is highly advanced.
And then cleaning and you know, I love, I guess you can call it pool shock, because it's dried bleach and it stores for a long time.
Yeah, there's so many different ways that, and I think, if we talk about tips of what to use, it's a pool shock. And I forget what chemical it is, but it's basically a powdered chlorine, and you can mix it with water to wash your hands, to truly sanitize things. And in any kind of disaster, any emergency, sanitation is
key.
Is absolutely a key. Right up there, shelter, water, safety, food, sanitation is right up there if you don't want to die of a horrible disease. But yeah, absolutely, make hygiene and sanitation
key parts of your plan.
Yeah, I mean, it can be very basic. To having some extra toilet paper. Start out with your food storage and have some toilet paper, right? Some extra toilet paper. Alongside your extra canned foods of building your 3-month food storage on your shelf. Start right there with toilet paper.
Yeah. And then I think the next thing in advance that I really wanted to bring up is actual mental strength, right? And the only way you can get that is to actually go through your plans and practice.
It takes time.
You cannot develop mental strength and be able to think quickly of here are the next steps in my plan if I'm not practicing those plans and drilling
and
those
anticipating
plans. And setting up. So one of the big hurdles I've seen a lot of people do is they'll get this confidence because they've got a plan and they think they've got this ability to survive a disaster, and they've never survived one before, but they just have this sense of security that, hey, I'm good. But that'll backfire if they don't know how to implement that plan, or they haven't practiced it enough that it becomes a habit. Or they think everything's going to happen a certain way. Well, if it doesn't happen that way, then how do they survive the new scenario? So being open to different scenarios, but plan for them, put together plans and backup plans and backups to the backups and backups to the backups.
PACE.
And talk about
primary, alternative,
talk
contingency,
about
and
all of
emergency.
these things. If you're not talking about it with your family and modifying those plans as time goes by based on skill sets changing or people growing up.
And that could be an advanced aspect of prepping as well, is getting your entire family involved and not just aware of what you're doing. Okay, honey, this is what I'm doing. Okay, you're fine. Buy some more food storage, but get them involved in all the plans. And like you say, in doing the emergency drills, it's like you're doing your fire drill or doing do a bug out drill. Right?
Yep,
turn the power off to your house. Hey, we're gonna go over the weekend without power in the house. Those kinds of things.
And those are fun. I've
Well,
done
yeah,
it.
I guess for you and me
Depending on
that'd
the
be
time of
fun,
year,
right?
yeah,
but,
right.
But yeah, I get that too.
But having alternate
Let's know
power
your
and alternate
weaknesses.
cooking methods, I mean,
in your
those
plan.
kind of fall back into the intermediate, right? But using them and actually testing them is an advanced level type of thing. You can acquire the tools, but if you're not testing the tools and you're not testing your plans, you're not getting advanced.
All right, the next one I have, as we come up on our last few minutes here of the program, is don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yes.
And I am still struggling with this one, and this is a highly advanced one. It may not sound like it, but it has to do with location, where you keep your stuff, where you're going to. I mean, it could mean a lot of different things. It could mean you could go financially. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. You could put your food storage. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't put all your guns and
Don't
ammo.
put all
on
your
location.
preps in one basket. I can't tell you how many homes I've walked through here in Utah.
Oh, we got everything in this one room.
And in California and in Arizona where I've lived, where people are like, oh, yeah, I'm prepared. And they show me the one room that has everything in it. Well, good grief. That's a fantastic way to store everything and keep yourself out of it when the crap hits the fan. Because if it's an earthquake and that becomes a
vault.
safe, vault, if you will, you can't get into, well, great.
And that's why this is, I think, a highly advanced topic. A tip is to not keep all your eggs in one basket. How do you do that? How do you stage that around your house? How do you? I mean, that's something I still work with.
So I'm working on having water in every room of the house. I'm working on having a bug-out bag, if you will, by the exits, easily accessible. We've got our food storage stored in different locations throughout the house so that it's not just one place, right? But then the backup places, family members in other areas, when we were doing really well, we bought family members a year's supply of food and sent it to them. Well, if something happens and I've got to relocate, guess who's going to have to feed me? Because I paid for it.
That's right.
That's
absolutely.
And more than the fact that I can be like guilt tripping on them, I'll be there to help them, and I'll be there. They're people I love anyway, so I'm not going to guilt trip them. But they're going to gladly share that with me. And it's stuff I already eat. It goes back to the store what you eat, right? So it'll be an easy transition. But having those backup locations or backup vehicle or transportation. Do you ride a bike? Do you stay in shape? That goes into all these things as well, and that's more along the basic. But
mountain bike is a fantastic prep. Maybe even an intermediate prep.
Well,
to
and
have
add
another
a
mode
kid
of
carrier to
transportation.
it, even if you don't have a kid. Add the little kid basket carrier behind
carry
it,
more stuff.
because you can utilize that to carry more stuff. And then you're not carrying it on your person. You're not adding a load to you, which wears you out. It's behind you and it's on big wheels. That's fantastic. That's what we've got. One of my other things is as we're really coming down on the wire here, but question everything, whether it's the mainstream news or websites that pique your interest. Keep an open mind. Don't let things distract you from what's really going on. Like certain news events will get publicized and brought up over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. But behind the scenes, what you're missing out on, what they're not reporting on is, a new policy just got written by the federal government that's going to change our rights.
I think this is where we get into that, kind of conspiracy area. Whereas when we progress as preppers, become more advanced, we begin to question everything. And I think it's absolutely an essential trait of a prepper is to begin to question everything that you're being told.
Yeah, everything that's presented to you. But also question, do I really need this stuff that I've got? Do I, can I
that too.
develop
Absolutely.
skills to bypass tools?
Because you can't carry everything with you if you have
Exactly.
to bug out. You can't carry everything with you. And it comes down to simplifying on the basic end, to questioning everything, including your skills, and including, do I need all this stuff?
Yep.
Can I be more simple, more minimalist prepper like Tim Ralston advocates? And I think as we become more advanced, we then become more basic, yet more prepared and more resilient and more anti-fragile. We love that word.
Thank you, Cache Valley Prepper, for introducing us to that. It's key that we question things, but it's even more key that we practice what we're preaching. Practice what you're doing. Practice what you're writing down. We're out of time for the day, but we'll be back next week. Thank you for tuning in to Prepper Talk Radio for the ready-minded. And go find us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, give us a like, share us.
Spend some time prepping this weekend.
And let us know what you think about our content, and let us know if you have questions for future shows, and we'll bring it up. Thank you so much.